Isaiah 53 verse 11. He shall see of the travail of his soul, and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. 700 years before Christ, the prophet Isaiah warned us of the coming of the righteous servant, a man who would take the weight of our wrongs upon himself. But who was this man Isaiah was describing? To find out, we have to look at the verses leading up to this moment. At the very start of the chapter we read, "Who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed?" Isaiah begins with two questions. He is warning us that this report will be easily missed. The evidence is right there, but most people are looking for the wrong thing. Who will actually recognize the arm of the Lord in the appearance of a suffering servant? Moving to verse 2, Isaiah gives us a look at the servant's origin. "For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He hath no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him." Isaiah describes a root coming up from dry ground, a miracle of life where there is no water to sustain the growth of a plant. This points to a supernatural birth, yet he arrived without any royal majesty. He was unremarkable and overlooked. There was nothing in his physical appearance to attract the world. He looked like any other ordinary man. The world's reaction was one of total rejection. Verses 3 and 4 reveal the depth of this servant's isolation. "He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs, and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted." Isaiah describes a man defined by sorrow and grief, someone that people instinctively turned their faces away from. He was viewed as a man cursed and punished by God for his own sins. But the report reveals a profound irony. While the world looked on with contempt, he wasn't suffering for his own sake. He was bearing our griefs and carrying our sorrows. The truth behind this suffering is finally revealed in verses 5 and 6. This is the heart of the report. "But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray, we have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all." Verse 5 shatters the world's misunderstanding. He wasn't punished for his own sins, he was wounded for ours. Every stripe and every bruise was the price for our peace. Verse 6 explains why this was necessary. "Like sheep, we have all wandered off, choosing our own paths and turning our backs on God. But instead of the weight of that rebellion falling on us, the Lord laid the collective guilt of every one of us onto him." As the judgment begins, verses 7 and 8 show us a servant who doesn't defend himself. "He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is dumb, so he openeth not his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment, and who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living, for the transgression of my people was he stricken." Despite the oppression and the false judgment, he remained silent. He didn't fight for his life or argue his innocence. He accepted the sentence. Verse 8 confirms the reality of this moment. He was cut off from the living, not for his own crimes, but for the transgressions of his people. Even in death, the details remain strikingly specific. Verse 9 describes the final resting place of the servant. "And he made his grave with the wicked, and with the rich in his death. Because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth." Isaiah presents a remarkable detail. The servant is assigned a grave with the wicked, yet in his death, he is associated with the rich. Despite being executed as a criminal, the report maintains his total innocence. He had committed no violence, and no lie was ever found on his lips. The ultimate purpose of the report is revealed in a deliberate plan as we return to the core of the prophecy in verses 10 and 11. "Yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. He hath put him to grief. When thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed. He shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. He shall see of the travail of his soul, and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities." Verse 10 tells us that it actually pleased the Lord to bruise him. This doesn't mean God took joy in the suffering. but that he was satisfied with the purpose it achieved, an offering for sin that would produce a seed, a sacrifice made that continues to grow and bear fruit. Verse 11 shows us the aftermath. After the travail, the intense labor and agony, the servant looks back at the result and is satisfied. Because he bore the weight of those iniquities, he is now able to justify many. The debt is paid, and the path to the final victory is set. The report ends not in a grave, but in total triumph. Verse 12 reveals the final reward for the servant's sacrifice. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he hath poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bare the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. Because he was willing to be numbered with the transgressors, and pour out his soul unto death, he is now granted the portion of a conqueror. He didn't just die as a victim, he took the place of the very people who rejected him. The prophecy concludes by showing him as the one who makes intercession for us, turning the sacrifice of his soul into a finished victory. The report delivered by Isaiah 700 years before the cross is no longer a mystery. When we look at the life, the silence, the death, and the burial of the servant, only one figure in history fits every single detail of this prophetic map. It is not hard to see who the scripture is addressing here. To see how these ancient words were fulfilled with mathematical precision, I have compiled the corresponding New Testament verses into a complete cross-reference table at the end of this video. The evidence is before you. Christ is Lord. The only question that remains is the one Isaiah asked at the very beginning. Who hath believed our report? I hope this study has given you a deeper perspective on the precision of Scripture. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe to the channel. May the Lord bless you. Godspeed.